What is up, Mount St. Mary's basketball fans? Welcome into the unofficial, official Mount St. Mary's Media Day here. We've got a couple players coming in for you, but first joining us is Coach Donny Lind. Uh, Donny, thanks for doing this. We appreciate this, and I think it should be a fun opportunity just to talk some Mount St. Mary's hoops.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys having me.
Joining me here today, co-hosting this event is basketball coach extraordinaire, David Kaplan. David, just give us a little about yourself, background, and things like that for folks maybe not familiar.
Yeah, appreciate you saying all that. Grew up in the DMV, started coaching high school after I graduated college, about 2011. I think I started coaching high school. Moved on to the college ranks, D3, JUCO, Division I, and then back to the high school ranks. I was at Fork Union as a head coach last year, and we'll be announcing my new coaching stop later this week. So glad to be doing this, though.
Love that. That's a perfect tease for everybody. So make sure to follow Coach_Cap, KAP, on Twitter and X for all those updates. But joining us here right now to kick things off is Mount St. Mary's first-year head coach, Donny Lind, a veteran of the podcast at this point, been on here twice now. So, Coach, I guess just first off, since the last time we talked, it's been a couple months now. Got your feet under you a little bit more. How have things been going?
Yeah, things are great. We're advancing. We're moving in, I think, the right direction. It's such an odd time because we've been going against each other for so long. Yep. And we finally get a chance to see somebody else in a close scrimmage and get film and get exposed in areas that we don't really work on as much when we're working on ourselves. And so the last couple months have been a blast. It's been fun to really get to focus on basketball. The first few months you're on the job, there's so many other things than coaching basketball that we've had to work on, and they're super important. It's first the players and the people in the program was certainly priority one, to make sure we had a group of guys that we felt like we could mold and help become the type of young men that can be really successful here at the Mount. And then obviously to have this coaching staff that I believe in and that can help me as we push these guys in the right direction. So those things are great and they're super important, but it's also nice to get out there on the court and help these guys grow in their game and certainly help them come together as a team.
Yeah, that's awesome. Before we get too far into this, and I'll let David kick us off with the first question here. Also brought to you by Stateside Vodka and their Surfside hard iced teas, hard lemonades, hard half and halves, hard every flavor you can think of. And BetOnline, it's your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. Everything you can think of, college basketball if you want to, but not with anybody here on the call. Obviously, we want to stay away from that if possible. So maybe stick to the NBA if you're listening to this. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for all your favorite teams. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, Coach Cap, why don't you kick us off here, and we'll get rolling with this.
Coach Lind, I'm curious, what are kind of your expectations for year one, especially having, coached your guys for, the whole offseason and preseason so far?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest goals or expectations that I have is to establish a culture that models the things that we believe in. We believe in relationships. So I want guys that truly care about each other. And I want that to be obvious on the court. I want a group of guys out there that, you can tell are playing for each other. And, the only way to do that is to really, I believe, is to build a true relationship and to get to know each other. And so, building a culture centered around that, centered around development, centered around joy. I want you to watch a Mount St. Mary's game and be like, man, those guys have a ton of fun playing basketball. I think college basketball has become such a business, and we all fell in love with the game of basketball at a young age. I tell our guys, I tell our recruits, my son is 8, and so he's just falling in love with basketball, and I see the joy on his face every time he makes a shot. And I want, when we play, you to feel that about our team, that they enjoy playing the game with each other. And I feel like if we can do that, then the wins will come, and certainly, I'm not out here to build a culture that produces no wins. We expect to compete every night when we're out there. And, whether that means we win, 5 games or 10 games or 15 games or 25 games, it's, do we compete every night the right way? And do we play the way that shows that culture we're trying to build. And, I think the results will be pretty darn good if we can get that stuff figured out, because we got talented players here. I'm excited about the group we have.
One group I think you don't want it to be fun for is the team you're playing against every night. I got a quote here from you. We want people to hate playing against us because of how difficult it is to execute against us in the full or half court. I want people to adjust what they do to our playing style. I think, one, that's awesome. And I think Mount St. Mary's fans will like hearing that too. But can you talk a little bit just about how you go about doing that, and how do you make life so tough on opponents?
Yeah, it starts, in the weight room and in the practice court by doing everything faster. We transition from drill to drill faster. We get on to the next rep faster. We do everything a little bit faster so that we are used to being in an uncomfortable tempo for someone else. And so, that's where the biggest adjustment came for our guys, as well as we believe it'll be for the other team. I mean, we played a scrimmage the other day at 81 possessions in 40 minutes, so we certainly got to establish our tempo of the game. So, getting the game going faster is one way we do that. Full court pressure is another way we do that. We intend on, picking up full court in multiple different presses for the whole game, on, dead balls and made shots as much as we can. And then, we're going to change defenses a bunch. So on the defensive end, we're going to have multiple different defenses and keep you off balance, whether it's ball screen coverage or man or zone or, things like that can just make you have to think. I learned at a really young age in this game, one of my favorite phrases, and that's, when you think, you stink. And, I believe that if we can have the other team always having to think about what we're doing, they won't be able to execute the stuff that they want to do at the right level.
No, I love hearing that, Coach. I'm curious. DMV fans obviously know the name Malcolm Dredd. He's one of your more coveted players as far as coming out of high school. What can fans expect from him, and how has he looked so far in the preseason?
Yeah, Mo's an interesting case. Mo obviously went to the A-10 out of high school, and spent a couple years, kind of figuring out college basketball. He's had a rough go of it a little bit. Obviously did not play much at Richmond and ended up here at the Mount, and riddled with injuries and some things throughout his career. But he's done a good job of getting himself in good enough shape to play and compete. I think at his best, he has a really high IQ. He's a stretch four who can, help our offense click because he can make plays, not just make shots. And, there have been more days than not that he's that guy. But, he's searching for some consistency in his game still. And so, we'll see how that comes about over the course of the next, couple weeks as we're figuring out playing time and all that.
You retained a lot more guys from last year's team than I think most teams in the conference, honestly, which is a good problem to have. Was that like a huge focus for you coming in, of just keeping as many guys in Mount uniforms as possible?
I wanted guys that want to be here. Having worked at the Mount before, I knew that, the Mount's a unique place. Anyone who's been up here knows. I think one of our best sales pitches for a recruit in the DMV is you want to go away to school, but you still want your people, your friends, your family to be able to come watch you play. Well, you're only an hour away from home when you come to the Mount, but it's a long hour. It feels like you're a little further from home than an hour, if you're coming from, DC or PG County or, places like that. And so, people who want to be here, I wanted to keep. And so, I think we had a lot of guys that the change excited them. They were excited about what we were talking about with how we wanted to play. They were looking for a fresh start, and they felt like our culture would be good for them. And, I didn't feel like it was right to come in and run everybody off because, there were some good pieces that were still here. And I thought, especially, some of the athletic forwards that we retained, those guys would be a great fit for what we were doing, style of play wise. And, if we could keep them, we got to try to do that. So, I was really fortunate, no new players went in the portal after I got the job. And, we did I think we went right in and built a relationship right away. And it's been proven to, I think to help us have a better group here going into the fall.
I like that. it appears you guys are playing, at least 4 bye games. And I'm curious if there's any reason why those teams were scheduled, or did it just kind of happen organically?
I told somebody this is the easiest year of scheduling I've ever had in my life. Having worked at UNCG and Radford the last couple of years, where we were notorious for beating high major teams in guarantee games, it was really hard for us to schedule. Everyone thinks we're going to stink. I've never called the timeout before, and we don't. We lost the two best players off last year's team, so it was easy to find games. Certainly, but in all seriousness, the opportunity to play really good local teams. Why wouldn't we do that? Why wouldn't we go to Mason? Why wouldn't we go to Maryland? Why wouldn't we go to Georgetown as many times as those guys would have us? I think it's great for our fans. It's great for their fans. I think our guys love those environments. We're going to recruit the area. Those guys will come in. Our DMV players will walk into those games with a different chip on their shoulder than if we were to go play a similar team that is out of the area. And so I think that gives us an opportunity to, have a fighting chance. And I feel like I learned a lot in those games with Coach Jones over the last 8 years. And so hopefully we can put in a good show. And then we chose to go to Miami because we have 2 kids on the team from Florida, and who doesn't want to go to Miami right before Christmas and take those guys home and let them play in front of their friends and family. I think is important. I think it's something that we can use in recruiting, but more than using in recruiting, it's just important for them to get that opportunity because they chose to come all the way this far from home. And their people don't get to see him play very often. So to give them that opportunity is nice.
I'm glad you mentioned that sort of DMV footprint on the team. The last Mount game I went to, I watched you guys in the afternoon, and then I went down and watched a Wizards game that night. So it really isn't, that tough a trip. And one of the guys on your team with that DMV sort of blueprint there is Xavier Lipscomb from DC. I missed most of last season with a foot injury. I guess, how's he doing? How's he been in practice so far? And just one of the things I think I'm assuming you want to see from him is him be a little more aggressive on the offensive end this year. Is that something you've kind of had to push him to do at all yet?
Yeah, X is doing great physically. He's back. He hasn't missed a day of practice since we got started here. I think in the summer. I think he might have missed one day in the summer, but since we started in the fall, he definitely hasn't missed a day. We put a new floor in the main arena, and they'd been playing on the original floor from like 1983 here in the arena. And the biggest reason that we got a new floor was because of the health and safety of our guys. They needed a softer surface to play on. So X was very happy about that after the injury last year. But he's been great. He is an unbelievable leader. I've got a history. I recruited X out of high school. He played for us at Radford when I was there. So I've known X for a really long time. And he's been great to walk into the locker room and have him there who trusts me, who knows me, who can help me with the rest of the guys. And then, I certainly want to see him be an aggressive offensive player. Part of the blessing of X is that he is ultra competitive. He's an unbelievable leader, and he wants to help the other guys be their best. And almost to a fault, sometimes he won't, he'll defer his own offense to help someone else. And so, we've talked a lot about, asking him to, not force shots, but if you're open, you need to shoot the ball. And he's a good shooter. You look at his career numbers, he's got great 3-point numbers throughout his career on low volume. And so I feel like if we up the volume a little bit, he'll continue to shoot at a high percentage. He's the hardest working kid on our team. He's in the gym more than anybody else. And so, I know that all that will translate to him being a little bit more of a volume guy on offense, hopefully.
There's a thing that Bill Self did a couple years ago on their national championship, the 2 national championship teams ago with Brandon Rush when he was their best player on the team and wasn't shooting enough. So he made him go run on the treadmill every time he passed up an open shot. So you've got that in your back pocket if you push him to run a little extra.
I love it. We might need it.
Dan departed for Syracuse, obviously, which, job open then, and they were able to hire you. Have you guys spoken since you got the job? Or since the job was open, and also what was discussed, and is there a possibility that maybe down the road Mount travels up to Syracuse?
Dan's been great to me. He obviously we all make decisions in our careers for different reasons, and it was time for him to leave. And I've got a ton of respect for what he did while he was here. He's a really good basketball coach, and he's been great to me as far as helping me build a relationship with our players. giving me some of the contacts that I needed to help with that, whether it's high school coaches or AU coaches or people I might not know. But he's been great. Whether we'll play or not, I doubt he'll be okay with that until all the guys that he coached are gone. But I got no problem going up there. It'd be fun to play in the Dome. It's one of the few, major venues I've never been in my life. So it wouldn't be the worst trip in the world. Maybe he'd throw us an extra $5,000 since he knows how things are, at this level.
Just going back to another returner here, you've got Dallas Hobbs. I think that's somebody that seems like he should be poised to take a big jump. He's a really good playmaker. Shot selection was maybe something last year that needed a little refining. Is that something that you guys have worked with him on or talked through yet?
Dallas. Yeah, Dallas is a super scorer. He knows how to score. He is as naturally gifted as a scorer as we have on our team. And so, it's about understanding the game as opposed to understanding shot selection when it comes to a lot of guys in this generation. Dallas's dad is a workout guy, and that's why he's so talented. His dad has worked him out since he was a young child and helped him become the scorer that he is. But guys who the downside of that is, and for most players, that are playing in this generation, is they played a lot less basketball 5-on-5 than we did when we were playing, when we were 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. And so I think Dallas's efficiency is going to go up this year because of just having played another year of college basketball and understanding the game better, plus, I'm excited for how he fits into what we want to do offensively. He can be a primary ball handler. He can be a secondary ball handler. But like you said, he's a playmaker. He makes good plays for himself and for other guys with the ball in his hands. And so, we've tried to empower him to do that. One of the things that we've talked to him about is, being a winner, trying to win, every time you step on the court. And that's been I think the biggest area of growth for him is trying to focus on what does the team need from me to win? What do they need from me right now to win? And he's been really, really receptive. He's one of those guys that comes to my office almost every day, sit down and watch film together. We talk about basketball. We talk about life. And to see him grow, especially over the course of the last couple of weeks, a lot of the, the messages and the lessons that we've been trying to get through to him, you start to see some of those light bulbs go off, and that's a lot of fun. Now, we'll see when minutes start getting handed out and games start coming, if those lessons continue to show on the floor. But I'm excited for the year that Dallas can have.
Love it. Coach, I know Mount recently launched their NIL collective during the summer. How can people support Mount basketball going forward with the collective?
Yeah, so we launched Emmett's Brigade. I believe it's emmetsbrigade.org. I think I probably should know that off the top of my head. But we certainly we're looking for people if they want to support us financially. That is a way you can do it. Certainly the Mount Club is a way you can do it as well. And the way college basketball is going, they may be all merged at some point here in the next few months. But it's a way that we're going to be able to starting this spring. It's another way that we're going to be able to give the guys what they've honestly earned and deserved over the last however many years that they've been playing college basketball, and that we've had this revenue generated and the players haven't gotten their fair share. So that's a way that we'll be able to hopefully make our guys' experience here at Mount St. Mary's better, give them more opportunities to play at a higher level at this high of a level, and to hopefully win a lot. Because we're able to use those funds in a way that helps. So, anyone who wants to support there or any businesses that, I think that's certainly an avenue that we're trying to explore. Our businesses that want to help us and partner with us in the NIL landscape, is certainly something we're looking for.
And we'll put the link to that in the episode description here. So if folks are watching this after the fact, they can just kind of easily click on that and go from there. So if you're listening to this and you got a business, let's hook our guys up here. So make sure they get some free food or something at least.
No doubt.
Out of this. Coach, just as we start to kind of wrap things up with you before we transition onto the players, just for you to be as successful as you need to be as a team this year, what do you guys need to do? What does Mount St. Mary's basketball need to look like?
Yeah, I think the biggest things that we're trying to see is can we take that jump as a team? can we get past our individual agendas and be willing to do whatever the team needs possession by possession? And that's the heart. That's what every team is searching for right now. We have talented players. I'm fortunate, like you said, the guys we retained were good players. We brought in some really talented players, and we have a lot of talent on the team. But our biggest focus has been coming together and being able to do whatever we do as a team, and not being able to celebrate each other's successes and pick each other up when things don't go our way. And if we're able to do that consistently, then I think the sky's the limit for this team, because there are talented guys out here. There are guys that are able to to score, to make plays for other guys, to make shots, to rebound, to defend. We check a lot of boxes, and I think we can be pretty deep if we have guys that are bought into play in that way. And so that's been our biggest work. We have a meeting every week. It's called a DCC, Developing Championship Culture, and we sit there and we talk about really, what do winners do, what do teams that win do, and what do they look like? And guys are starting to understand that all the talent in the world doesn't get you very much, but if you can do it together as a group, you can be really, really special. And so we're working our way there, and if we can continue to improve and be a lot better team in February than we are right now, I like our chances when that time comes.
That's great. Dave, David, one more, maybe one last question for Coach here, and we'll let him get out of here.
Yeah, I got to ask, obviously you guys play Loyola. How emotional of a game will that be for you? And how many, friends and family from your time at Loyola do you expect in attendance?
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of calls and texts about that one already. One of the things I think that I'm really good at is not getting ahead of myself. I think that's helped me my whole life. My parents instilled that in me, and trying to live one day at a time, and, not put too much thought into what's going on, next week, let alone, tomorrow or December, whatever day that game is. But I'm sure on that day I'll be excited. I'm sure I'll want to win. They got a good team there. They're going through, I'm sure, a lot of the same stuff we are right now. Josh is a really good coach, and I'm sure he's going through a lot of the same stuff as he's trying to build that program, after his ideas and his vision. It'll be a fun day, but I'm sure I might need somebody to tap me on the shoulder and tell me to calm down a little bit, but it'll be fun.
Very cool. I think that's the end of my list. David, anything else for you?
No, that's it. Can't wait to follow you guys this year. I'm sure I'll be at the Mason game amongst others, and I look forward to pulling for you guys and cheering you guys on to success.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you doing this for us and giving us some exposure. We are certainly, I know we are the extended area of the DMV, but we want to make sure that we continue to establish our footprint in the area, and especially for young people and coaches to see that the Mount is a great choice for players who are have that idea of staying close to home, but want to play really, really good basketball in a really competitive league.